the very bottom of page 6. We did the notes for the earlier part. Today we're focusing on the working backwards problems, essentially. Working backwards problems are the problems that ask you to find a missing dimension. What they do is they give you information about the shape and then have something left to solve for. In order to do these problems, certain things you have to follow in the same idea, like figuring out what shape it is. What type of shape is this? Hexagonal prism, because there are two congruent and parallel hexagons being connected by a bunch of rectangles. Now, this means that our surface area formula is this one from yesterday, and our volume formula is this one from yesterday. But I don't need them both in a working backwards problem. Which one I need depends upon what information I have. I have information about the shape, and I have this. What is that?
Volume.
Volume, which means I don't need this. I don't need the surface area formula on this one. I need the volume formula. Now, volume formula, volume equals base times height. Okay, I can plug in what I know. I know the volume. It's 1,191., oh, come on, work. We're just going to pretend that isn't there. 3. Equal to, do we know capital B?
No.
Capital B is base area. So much like yesterday, when it comes to these problems, we're going to be figuring out what the shape, figuring out the formulas that apply to that type of solid, and pulling the base aside in order to figure some things out about it. Perfect. There's my hexagonal base. I know that to be 11. So they're all 11. From here to here, I was told was 9.5. How do you find, because we don't need P, we just need capital B. How do you find the area of a hexagon in which all the sides are the same length? What's the formula? You're missing one tiny bit of it, but yes, it has the ASN. 1/2 ASN. 1/2 times, what's A? Nope.
9.5.
9.5. A is the apothem, distance from center to edge. S. Eleven. N. 6. 1/2 times apothem times side length times number of sides. 0.5 times 9.5 plus 11 times 6 happens to be 313.5. That is capital B, which means now my volume formula, I actually can plug that in. 313.5 times, what is the height of the prism?
I see X.
Yes. Connecting from one hexagon to the other hexagon is X. That's what we're trying to solve for.
How do we know if that X isn't just a side length to the base?
This picture's not the best in hindsight, too.
Any of these pictures, they don't really make sense where the placement is. I mean they do, but not at the same time.
This one is particularly struggle. Like this one,
That one I can tell, yeah.
yeah. Most of the time they're gonna be a little more obvious. I don't know why this one showed up that way. Generally, you can assume that if I tell you this is 11, I'm not gonna ask you what this side is when I tell you they're also congruent. Okay, how do I solve for x?
3.
Do what with the 313? What?
Subtract.
No, it's being multiplied. How do you undo multiply?
Divide.
Divide by 313.5. X equals 3.8. What kind of units would go on a height? Yards. Okay, we got one more problem that we're looking at. It says, what is the height of the trapezoidal prism with a base area of 382 meters squared and a volume of 2,865 meters cubed? Trapezoidal prism. Guess what? I know what shape it is. Being a prism, that means we got that formula and we got this formula. Which of those two formulas is going to be helpful? What information do I know in this shape?
The base area and the volume.
I know base area. What variable it goes into base area? Is it S? Is it V? Is it B? Is it H? Is it P? B. I know that B is equal to 382. And I have volume. What variable is that? S, V, P, V. I know V is equal to 2865. Which formula connects B and V? The top one or the bottom one? Don't need the top one. 2, 8, 6, 5 equals 3, 8, 2 times what do I know about the height? Nothing, but is it what we're trying to solve for?
Yes.
So X.
You can put a variable. You can put H if you prefer. You can put X. I don't care. How do I get X alone? Divide by 382. X is 7.5. Watts. Meters. Now, I want to take a look at actually one more problem directly off your homework. Reason being is I've realized that in these two problems, there's one key thing that I probably should have talked about, that I should have had an example of, that I missed. And so I'm going to give you an answer to your homework. By the way, notice anything about your homework?
No,
One's 2.
It's one-sided.
Part 1 and 2.
Is the shortest worksheet of even?
Yes. We're going to take a look at question 4. So question 4, much like the two that we just did in our notes, is a work backwards problem. We're trying to solve for this length along the bottom here that has marked as X. Okay, what type of shape is it? Triangular prism. Those are our two formulas. Do you think I'm going to use the surface area formula or the volume formula? What information do I give you? I give you the volume, which means I'm using the volume formula. The volume itself, I know. I can plug that in right away if I like, or I can wait because I don't have B, so I need to calculate that. My bases are the triangles, so I need to focus on my base. That's 7, that's 10, that's X, that is 5.8. Those are the measurements I'm given about this triangle. I don't need perimeter for this formula, so I just need capital B. And how do I find, capital B is an area, so how do I find an area of that base? 1/2 BH, because it's a triangle. What is the base of the triangle?
I say X.
It is X. And the height of the triangle? 5.8, because those are the perpendicular ones to one another. Now, the ones on our notes, the one on our notes that actually had you solving for the base, you could get this down to a single number, but can you do that when it's got an X? No, but can you simplify it further than leaving it as 1/2 times X times 5.8? Yes, because what can you do?
Half 5.8.
You can have the 5.8, because all of those are being multiplied. 0.5 times 5.8, you get 2.9. All of a sudden, this becomes 2.9, still getting multiplied by X. That can still go into this formula. Just because it has an X doesn't mean it can't. For B, I'm going to put 2.9X in. Times, what is the height of this prism? No, that's the height of the triangle is 5.8. To get height of prism, you got to go from corner of base to corner of base. The only segment that does that. Now, technically, it has to be perpendicular, but I'm not trying to trick you. Is 8. How do I solve this equation? You could divide by things. I would multiply these first. Or if you want to divide by 8 and then divide by 2.9, you can. But 2.9 times 8. $23.2, still getting multiplied by X. And then divide 278.4 by the 23.2. X is 12. Specifically, yards. So, some of these problems, your base area is not going to simplify completely down to a number, but you can still do it.